We should be live with working audio on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Sure.
And we'll be able to monitor the chats of both
Hey,
Twitch and YouTube as it stands. If you're on Facebook, I recommend you probably switch over to Twitch if you've got stuff to say. So apart from that, I think this is all working. I can't see people saying mic not on.
Who's Mike?
Working
Here's
audio?
Mike.
Holy!
Working audio.
Whoa!
We got it. We did it.
I can't believe it. Okay, so
That's
yeah,
happened,
Jamie,
wasn't it?
you're an unexpected surprise.
No, I'm Leif.
Oh
That's
no, you've
Leif.
got the wrong.
I'm Jamie.
For this stream, anyway.
Do we need to get him to stand up and switch, or? Yeah, let's just switch you around. Let's.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, if people, the whole point of this is that if people come in, they know who you are.
I took this seat on purpose because I wanted to be able to lean over.
So you purposefully
took it from
subverted
Leif,
me.
yeah. Well,
Sorry,
Yeah.
Leif. Honestly, it's nothing personal.
except
Wow.
you know the personal name.
Very personal.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, screw you.
okay. Well, no technical difficulties, but people difficulties.
people.
That's a technical
difficulty.
difficulty. You have to learn your
It's easier to move the people than move the screen.
Mm.
Okay,
Easier for you,
so
maybe.
I think we're going to get straight into it. Firstly, I'm going to start by introducing myself and introducing my wonderful guests. I'm Josh, Developer Communications at Creative Assembly. You probably see me here every other week. And actually, my guests here joined me last week as well. Not together, they joined me individually, but now they are
Oh, yeah, I
united.
kicked him out.
United.
Yeah, I mentioned on stream after that I felt a bit bad about being so
Aw.
rude when I kicked you out.
So firstly, we have Jamie.
Hello,
Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Jamie. I'm a feature designer.
There we go.
I
What
design
does,
features.
what does a feature designer do? If you're just going to say design features.
So, well, how do I explain it? Basically, when we identify we want to have like brand new feature, like post-battle chat or recently played player screen or whatever else, that'll be me designing that and
Okay.
working with programmers to get it done.
That's cool. Someone just said, Josh looks like he just woke up. Well, spoiler, I actually hibernate after every live stream until the next one. It's just
That's
a 2
why
week
these are always so poorly planned. He's asleep.
Oh, poorly planned or brilliantly executed. One of those two. So, we have a second guest.
Yeah.
Mr. Leif.
Hello.
Who are you?
I am Leif.
Confirmed. And what do you do?
World designer. So I design most of the maps and kind of lead the design on the rest of the maps, as Mike is doing me in. And other content design, basically.
Cool. Someone just said, Leif, make me your apprentice.
There's a application process.
Okay. How would
I
one
was
go
turned
about?
down.
If you have to ask, then you're not gonna.
Oh. Ouch. And someone,
Good answer.
come on, Leif, you have a beard. Take your seat back. In fact, no, I'm not. Pretend I didn't read that comment. I'm not going to
No,
incite you.
this
You're
seat
trying to
has
fight
my
for-
name on it. Look.
Quite literally.
So.
Okay, so we're gonna jump straight into the news.
Mm.
Maybe one day we'll have like a little thing that does like
You
news.
mean an auto
news.
cue?
Oh, this kink is coming off my ear. Like news,
Oh, I
arena,
see.
news.
So you can have you sing a little jingle for each thing.
Yeah.
that'd
Someone
be
just
great.
clip that, and we'll have that every time. So in the news this week for the Dev newsletter, we spoke extensively about the Praetorians.
Mhm.
Before we get onto that, because I know it's a topic near and dear to our hearts,
Mhm.
I'll talk a little bit about the patching, because we said about how 3.7 was a pretty big patch, right?
Yeah.
I know for both of you, because you were both on here last time, 3.7 had a lot of stuff, a fair amount of balance, with like half the commanders and all ranged unit types being affected. It had Capua,
Yep.
and it had a bunch of features. So
Oh, yeah,
really,
had play level in it, didn't it?
it did.
I got to take my pack out from behind me.
Jamie,
I'm always
when
going to read
people-
these things out,
Smooth.
guys, every time.
When people put instructions on the screen, it doesn't mean read them out loud.
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay,
I'm always going to do it just to wind you up.
but
so.
what, it does wind me up.
Yep.
But what we're going to say is, what if this flips off my ear? What we're going to say is that patch 3.7 was pretty big, right? And we
Yeah.
just kind of had people starting up investigations or properly amping up on other features. So 3.18, which is the patch we'll be showing you today, it has probably slightly less in it than the average patch we've been releasing,
Okay.
which is why this live stream might have a bit of a Q&A at the end, just to kind of make sure that we keep that regular interaction with you guys.
For me, like, there's a feature in here that I've been trying to get
But
in
yes,
game for like.
There
a
is
year.
one very cool, in particular, one very cool feature that we're really excited to talk about. I mean, our producer saw it up on screen when we were playing the video, and he was like, "That's really cool."
It is.
So it is really cool. Oh, that's annoying. So let me see if anyone said anything on YouTube. We're good. They're all still saying hi.
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 Hello, YouTube as well. So let's talk about the Praetorians. So I assume you guys read the dev newsletter, but if you didn't, and for the people who didn't out there, I'll catch you up.
I definitely did.
Definitely did, or didn't?
Definitely did.
Okay. Ouch. So pretty much what we're saying is the Praetorians are a kind of testing group we have that who we talk to them about some kind of high level ideas. We have them kind of test some specific things. And they've kind of been a mysterious, shadowy group for a while, right? We've seen it on Reddit, like people being like the Praetorians, and then everyone else being like, "Who are the Praetorians?"
I was a Praetorian once.
You were a Praetorian once. That's how mysterious they are. So, but we kind of wanted to kind of clear the air and be
infiltrated them.
We didn't want to ever feel like we were kind of hiding people from you or we were ashamed of anything, because we're actually really proud of our Praetorians.
Dozens of us.
They do a really good job. And actually, we want to encourage guys who play a lot of the game to kind of see how they could become Praetorians, how they know that they can make those leaps as well. So I kind of outlined the key 4 things that for us Praetorians should have. We'll just quickly run through those here.
Sure.
So we said game understanding, so knowing arena well, playing regularly, to keep up with the meta. I assume that you just mumble insults throughout the whole stream.
It was just like you wrote up this page. We were going to talk about Praetorians, and you're like, we might as well just run through this now. Well, yeah, that's the way we're here.
All this. So we said valuable feedback, which I think is something that's most important for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that. So the kind of way that Praetorian feedback works is much like community feedback. There's community feedback that's aggregated, sent to you guys, or even specific links, specific comments, all that kind of stuff. And I know you guys obviously independently read it on your own. But Praetorian feedback is very much the same. Someone collects up that feedback, and that gets sent as well.
A lot of times, like there'll be aggregated feedback from the community, and then we'll ask the Praetorians for like more detailed feedback along those lines. So we say, well, community is saying this. Can you give us more? Can you expand, please, or elaborate? Kind of like something out of Westworld. Elaborate, Praetorians, and it can be really useful like that because there's only so many of us. There's only so many people we can talk to. So if we have like another little network of people talking to the people, that makes it a lot easier for us to get more detailed feedback with a lot more range of views in it too.
Helps digest a lot of the stuff. Basically.
Yeah.
Someone also said, "Leif, your beard is gorgeous," and someone else agreed with, "Yes, fantastic beard."
Oh, great!
Thank
you.
Just thought I'd keep
very jealous.
Keep the boost going. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. We then have we said mutual respect is really important because we work quite closely with the Praetorians, and we don't want people who hate us or who are continually attacking. We want people who kind of share that same vision, that same passion for the game.
It's difficult sometimes when you try to talk to someone that's like, no, you're a stupid dev, I hate you. Like, okay, but how do you feel about elephants? No, you're stupid. Yeah. Elephants are terrible.
Well, it's that thing of knowing that you don't just disagree with someone, you explain why, right? Yeah. It's that step of you never disagree with the person, you're disagreeing with the ideas, maybe.
It's helping to understand as well that like a lot of comments are said out of passion, right?
Yes.
So it's helping to kind of dilute what it is that's causing that passion exactly,
and how you can channel that passion in the right avenue.
And digging into the emotions behind it.
Yes. And the 4th one is discretion. So all Praetorians sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement for those of you who aren't in the legal world, and that's because they handle some sensitive information, right? And recently the Praetorians have kind of gone through a revival, which is why we wanted to share them with you guys. Before this, they weren't really having much of an input, but we wanted to make sure that they do have that say and that there is another voice as well, another player voice. And that's why we're also looking to kind of expand them a bit to make sure we have a nice measure of voices. So if you feel like you meet those 4 criteria, then you're probably on one of my lists. If not, then you might be soon. Does that sound menacing?
Yeah.
It's a good list.
It wasn't that you said you're on my list.
List or a naughty
it was lists. Because it implies that not only is there a list of like potential Praetorians, but like other lists.
You're naughty or nice.
The kill list.
There's no kill list, I can promise you that. But yeah, that's kind of... I don't know if you guys have anything to add about that. I just thought I'd outline it for the guys on stream who maybe don't read the dev newsletter.
Just that, like, it's definitely a useful, like, close knit community to have. So having those kind of essentially veterans as well of the game that have kind of seen the game progress from earlier stages and seen how their input can get incorporated into some of the decisions we make.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
Do you know what I really like? The whole camel joke, right, was very much a Twitch thing. But now that we're doing YouTube as well, it's nice seeing it spread to YouTube just in the first stream.
Good.
So that's great. So now there's camels everywhere. I mean, it's already on Reddit. So
Need to get t-shirts. I mean, is there... Oh, I'm going to have to look for some camel t-shirts.
Oh, no.
Next time.
Okay, something else. I got some hot off the press news. You ready for this?
The camels.
This is actually something we haven't spoken about anywhere else.
Camels.
As is everything else I'm going to say this stream. So the NA login and auth issues. So these might be the issues that have been causing excessive AI bots. So we've seen some games with like 8 AI players. Just before I came up, I was told that we have identified the issue potentially of the NA login and auth issues, and that we're looking into a fix for that now. So there's a good chance that is the thing causing the bots. If it is, then we're really going to drill down on it, make sure we get to the cause of that.
Does it have anything to do with a shortage of camels?
And the matchmaking changes that we made, the matchmaking changes last week, the tier 8 band.
I'm funny, damn it.
I know you're funny. But I can't laugh, otherwise it encourages it.
Yeah, well, that would be nice.
I'll laugh sometimes, Jamie, I
I'll
promise.
laugh on the inside.
Okay. I guess I'll take it.
So the tier 8 banding, so tier 7 to 8, we've seen a lot of really positive community sentiment about that. And I think we're happy to say that for now it's not being turned off. We're going to keep gathering data on it, but as it stands, we've seen that you guys are really happy with it. It's really positive, and we're happy for it to remain there and be positive for now. If things turn out to be very broken and it's just hidden at the moment, then firstly the red sirens will flash, and then we'll probably have to turn it off. But as it stands, there are no warning bells.
We did used to have a big red siren, with like a big button under a glass case.
Someone else?
On Seb's desk. That's how we used to push our bills. You hit the big
Really?
button. Yeah.
Wow.
It.
Someone also said, are there going to be servers set up in other regions beside Europe West? There are servers.
Didn't we recently had servers in like Singapore? And
actually,
such?
that was... So I believe that they were announced on Friday, but properly turned on like 3 or 4 days ago.
So when I say recently, I mean they were announced recently.
Yeah. So 3 or 4 days ago, we had the servers. I can't remember where they are off the top of my head. But I think 4 servers all over the world. 1 in Singapore, you're right. Or Hong Kong.
America as well?
There was 1 in America.
Yeah.
And then 2 others. 1 in Luxembourg.
There's probably a post somewhere. Where
there
you
is
can
a
find
post.
out real detailed information.
The matchmaking post. So yes, we have servers all over the world, not just Europe West. Oh wow, it's much more difficult than I thought it'd be, keeping up with 2 chats. You know?
Can you give us one?
No. I am Chatman.
Okay.
I'm Chatman.
No, we do actually have a Chatman downstairs, so...
Oh yeah. So that's going to lead us on to our first thing, which is the new MVP post-battle screen. I thought we would go straight into it.
Sure.
So shall we just go straight into it?
Yeah.
But sorry, before you play the video, do you want to say a couple of words?
Yeah, this was the thing I've been trying to get in for like a year.
Yeah.
I think we've all been wanting from before that, but a year ago I had like a detailed design of, I want this. And now it's finally here, and it makes me really happy. And I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out, actually. Like
Me too.
The team did a really good job
cool
on it.
And I think it's one important part of it is that it's kind of changing something from individualistic play to team play.
Yeah. When we look at it, I'll go into like the details of why it's the way it is.
Let's do it. Please work video.
Da, 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 da.
That's the wrong part of the video.
Yeah.
It's not the start of the video,
but it's okay.
Oh, here we go.
Hey.
Oh, you can't see it. If you click your little tabs that say victory or defeat, what comes up now?
Da, 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 da.
There we go.
Yeah. So basically, when you leave the battle, well, let's pretend you play through a battle and you never left, and you're there right till the end, and you win. This is what you will be greeted with. So this is the entire winning team, all laid out in beautiful splendor with commander skins and all. The MVP is right at the front. He's called TWA Test because that's a test.
It's TWA Test.
Yeah. Okay.
TWA Test.
And so he's the guy who earned the most points in the battle. He's fantastic on that team, specifically on the winning team.
Yep.
So this is just the winning team. You don't see the losing team because they lost. The two guys standing next to him, so both Germanica, surprisingly, they've been picked to go there for a specific reason. So you can see one says in 3 eliminated decorations. The other guy says something, and I didn't see what it was.
It's all right. I'll go back to it in a second.
Yeah.
There we
And
go.
behind where we are, there is a little details button for you to access
Yep.
the post-battle rewards.
Do you want to
screen
hide
where it
us
is
just for a
right now.
second?
Yeah, there we
There you
go. So in the Coronis Timoris crown. So basically you can be chosen for those slots based on a variety of conditions involving decorations or points or some of the achievements and stuff like that, hoping to expand that in future in the hopes that everyone will get a chance to be on there. And this is what it looks like from the losing team's perspective. So again, you still see the winning team.
Post-battle chat there as well.
Oh yeah, post-battle chat, yeah. So you still see the winning team.
I'm going to go through all 3 of these tabs.
Yeah. You don't get to see your own team when you lose because I very much wanted to get a reward for the people who won. Like they get some more experience and stuff. But these guys won. They get to be highlighted. And plus, when you win, and you get to be highlighted, and you deserve all that. So yeah, it looks really cool. You get to see all these commander skins and stuff. We're hoping to expand on it in future so that you can click on commanders, look at what loadout they had, their points, what earnings, what commander skin they've got, and maybe I want that one, etc. So we're hoping to expand on it in future. But yeah, this is like the really nice first iteration. And then the other advantage is you can access it from your notifications. So that little notification in the bottom right, you can click on it and you get to look at this screen as well. Because part of the problem with the previous MVP screen was only the people who were there at the end of the battle got to see it, which meant that however many, I don't remember how many it was, but a large proportion of players never got to see that screen. And if you weren't on it, because out of the 20 people in the battle, you weren't one of the 2, who cares? I just want to go, get me back to the front end.
Oh, there's the little thing. So now when you click on that victory tab,
boom, done. So now as long as you won, you get to be on here somewhere. You might end up right at the back with little Caesar, but you're at least you're there and your name is there, and you kind of get to be a part of your team. Like you guys won, you worked together, you played as a team, and you won the game. So you get rewarded for it. You get to show off on this screen.
So someone was saying, what's with the difference between the red and the blue background?
Basically, the blue background is if you're on the team that won, it will be blue. If you're on the team that lost and you're looking at the screen, it'll be red.
So you can see that it's Fartronic here, who was playing because he's highlighted. Great name. But on the other, when it flicks to the other video, that was me logging into someone else who'd lost. Yeah. So I saw someone saying, oh, Josh, you're like my dad to me, love you.
Oh, that's very nice.
Thank Waffle.
Only a little bit creepy.
A lot of people saying it looks really good, looks fantastic, and it's hard to disagree. I mean, I think
the artist did a really good job with it.
So what's the philosophy behind this change then?
Philosophy being, so part of it was, I don't know how many other people share this sentiment, but when I was playing, it's easy to get lost in a sea of names. Yeah. Because there's so many individuals, men on the battlefield and women and the models, the entities. It's really easy to forget that people are playing, and that they're not just a bit of text on a screen. So a big part of this was the fact that I always wanted to anchor the person in the game. So using the commander as the avatar, especially when you can choose your commander skins, you can customize in that way. For me, felt like a good way of trying to do that, because if you look at other games, that's exactly how they operate. So with any there's kind of future plans to have things like victory poses or animations, all sorts like that to try and vamp this up and make it even more cooler and personalized. But this way, you get a roundup at the end of the battle and you see these people, these avatars, and that represent real human beings, look all around instead of just some text on a screen with some numbers next to it. And that for me feels more immersive. I care a lot more about the people who are in that battle, and I get to look at the screen and see all the cool stuff. I get to show off when I won because my name is on someone's screen.
And if it's kind of a prize as well for if you come second, right? Because usually you could fight just as hard as someone else, come second, and not.
And you get nothing.
So is
there this isn't necessarily second.
Yeah.
But if you did something impressive during the battle, you could be picked for one of these slots, because there's a variety of different conditions on which you can be picked for the slots.
Right.
And then it basically, we build a list of all these players who did cool things, and then we pick 2 of them. So hopefully, no matter what you play, as long as you play well, you will have a chance of being on this screen. So it's not like it doesn't favour Germanicus. It looks like it does, but it doesn't actually favour just Germanicus or anything like that.
With the skins.
Yeah.
What kind of order are we looking at here then?
So the guys in the background, there's no order.
Okay.
And the guys in the foreground, it's just MVP and those two guys who are equal to each other.
That's really cool.
But everyone else is just sorted.
It's showing that, like, you know, you're all part of the team. You've all likely contributed in one way or another. So
the point system isn't perfect. Like, there's no perfect way of gauging you contributed this much.
Right.
So the guy at the back sees it right there. If we sorted it based on points, he could have been the guy who defended artillery the entire game, or kept all the missiles alive, or what have you, and he might not have got any points, but he still contributed.
Yeah.
Like, he still deserves a spot. So don't shove him at the back just because of that.
Yeah.
Even that, unfortunately, someone else gets shoved at the back.
Yeah.
But
I think it's nice though, right? And I can see people in the chat saying, hopefully it's hopefully this is something that will encourage more team spirit and all that kind of thing, right? Because
that's a big part of it.
You're pushing not to be one head on the screen.
Yeah, you can see actually on the scores just there. Oh no, that was Joshy on the losing team. Never mind.
All right. But yeah, I absolutely think that's right. You're not pushing to be one of two heads. You're pushing to get everyone there.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it kind of leaves the guy who did really well on the other team out.
Yep.
But I've always wanted to kind of reward that guy a bit, because, you know, if you did really well, I've seen like games where people have played better than the entire enemy team but still lost.
Yeah.
And I do want to reward those guys in some way.
Maybe you could be in the background just staring in.
But something will come there for you guys to get the show off as well, because that's also a really important part.
Yeah. And I saw some questions about it. What if someone disconnects during the match? Will they be there?
Yes, they will. If they disconnected and they turned into an AI player, so before the match loaded, they won't.
Okay.
If someone does disconnect during the match, they will still be there.
They said, how do you decide the second and third person in the foreground? So I believe that's what we're
there's
talking about.
a list of conditions. It's things like earn lots of a decoration, earn all of the decorations at least once, or get a crown achievement, or get the most points in a certain category. So there's a whole bunch of conditions. We make a list of all the players who meet those conditions. If you meet multiples, you do get put in the list more, so you are more likely to get chosen.
Okay.
And then we pick at random 2 of them. The theory being that everyone then will get a chance to be in there, as long as they played well. And then the people who played really well and fit multiple conditions will have a bigger chance of being there.
So I saw some other things of, can I click on a teammate and check his stats? I believe that's something
Not yet, but I would like to do that.
Another couple of questions coming through as well about, can players from NA and EU team up yet? Will they be able to? We addressed this in 2 dev streams ago, dev newsletters ago, and that's that we want you to. We want to have that capability, but it's something that we are having to continue working on. Yeah. It's not an easy change, and in fact, it's pretty much an unprecedented change, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that we are working hard on, but it's taking time. And there's no update really on that yet. We'll let you know when there is, of course. What else? I was so far up that I've kind of missed some of the new questions. Does it automatically appear when waiting for the battle to end from the front end?
If you left before the battle ended,
yep.
No, it will not automatically appear. You have to click on the notification to get it come up.
Okay.
Because that would be awful if you were just like going through the unit trees or something like that, and all of a sudden, boosh, full screen, screw you. No, you have to interact to be able to get that.
But if you're there at the end.
If you're there at the end, it will automatically load you to it as you return to the front end.
Someone had a cool idea here. Maybe the lost team's MVP could be kneeling like he lost.
Yeah.
Oh no, my paper.
Maybe.
I've always corpse on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit harsh. Like, you were the best person on the enemy team, and you were lying dead on the floor. I've had ideas of things like on the scoreboard it shows the absolute MVP of the entire match instead of the winning team, so that he gets a place if he was that good.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of pipe dreams at the moment. We're working on it.
Cool. Someone said, what about with the new faction? There's no new faction announced, so.
Okay.
I don't know. I think they're saying about what about global play with the new faction. I have no idea. Probably not. Kneel before Caesar, someone else said. Will there be a Nux bus achievement?
A what?
Oh, Get Nexus asked that. So I assume he means an achievement for killing him.
Tempting.
So, I think we'll move on to the next thing. Let me just check. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, we could actually do that.
What?
We could. Well, I imagine it would be possible to have an achievement for killing a specific player.
Well, we could have
It
one
would
for
be
killing
doable.
devs, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a virus
I
that
always
spreads.
wanted. Yeah, I wanted the virus one like years ago, but I was told it's impossible. But I don't think it's impossible anymore.
Can I have bow before the camel lord?
What if you get killed by Josh?
Yeah.
Nobody will ever get it.
Oh. Maybe that's the point. Okay.
Makes it
so
elusive.
Yeah, the unachievable achievement.
we are now going to. I think. Are we done with the MVP? Is there anything else you want to say? Any parting words? Not that you're going, just that.
I don't think so.
Um,
It looks cool and I like it and I'm proud of it.
Is there a plan to fix Teutoburg Forest map? One side has advantage. Stay, because in two
Who
sections'
knows?
time, we'll maybe have some
it's
news
later,
of that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
UI improvements. Number 3, not yet. So we spoke about this in the dev newsletter, is we wanted to, and this is something we've all wanted for a while, is to be able to show off the units you bought in the shop in the tech tree.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
sure,
hit up number 3.
Yeah.
Got this one.
There we go. That's kind of what it will look
I
like.
do so many things now, I forget.
It looks really nice. It's just a very functional implementation of it's exactly what you want. Also, if a unit is in the shop, I believe this is the case. If the unit is in the shop and you don't own it, it will also appear there. So you don't necessarily need to go and check the shop every time. You'll see them there when they're there, right?
I think it's only the units that you bought in the shop
I
and
don't-
you own.
I don't know, because when I
Okay.
looked at it on
Maybe.
screen, it had shop.
No,
and
it
you could
can't
buy
do
them.
because that would be huge. Like that screen would be much bigger.
I don't know. There's only like 4 premium units on the shop right now.
Okay.
I
Go
think
what Josh said.
if Caro's watching, but yeah. So I believe that that's the case where it will show you units that are in the shop and units you own from the shop. I believe. Jamie doesn't believe that.
Nonetheless, they're here on
Yeah,
the tree.
We'll find out next
So,
Thursday who's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, and we'll find out pretty soon. But it's good to have them here and visible.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Rather than kind of, because you want to see, like you've bought a unit and like you want to see it everywhere else where the rest of the units are, right?
Yep.
So
I will double check that, and I will at
Yeah,
some
I
point. If someone pings me a message on Reddit on the dev newsletter
Yeah,
and
I
just
think
says, "Can
the
you check
reason
this?"
I'm getting confused is because there was 2 stages to it.
Yes.
One where it didn't include that, but another one where it did, and I don't know which one got done.
I see.
That's my bad.
It's either here's what I'll say. It's either it will show you the premium units in the shop, or it will soon show you the premium units in the shop. So, well, there's something else as well. That's not all with premium units and shops. There are 6 premium units moving from the shop to the check tree.
Cool.
So that means that they'll move from paid to gold paid, right? So you can now use your gold to get these units. The gold you get from all of
All
our
that
super
free
level up
gold
rewards.
you got from last patch.
So I will run through the 6 that are coming through. For barbarians, we have tier 5 Celtic slingers, which are actually a pretty popular one. I quite like my Celtic slingers. And tier 4 spear brothers. I don't have any pictures for these, so I don't know why I looked at the screen. For Greeks, we have the tier 5 Thracian Royal Cavalry and the tier 4 Delian Peltasts. Delian? And for Romans, we have the tier 5 Sarmatian Lancers and the tier 4 Germanic Scouts, who are on there. So they will be moving to the tech tree. Page 1 done. Now we have something else. Firstly, we're going to start with Capua, just to give it a little bit of a what your feelings are on kind of the reception. Oh my gosh, there's 2 of us.
We're on the screen twice.
Oh my. Okay, go to 4.
That is a good solution.
I brought up. I don't know why. I just thought I'd bring a little bit of context. So there's Capua. Oh my gosh, what's
Hooray.
happening?
it's good. It's good.
There we go. There we go.
Artistic.
Okay. So
I like how you didn't. Like, could we not move it over, like the map to the left a bit? It's not being covered up by the camera.
can we move it to the left? Okay. So
That's
we're
what I'm
working on
asking.
that to the left. But this
Yeah.
is Capua.
So yeah, this is the top-down
Hey.
view of the Capua map,
Yep.
which we recently released. Reception so far has been pretty good.
Yeah, it has.
A lot of people are enjoying it, enjoying the style of gameplay, which is really good to hear. Balance-wise, like having a look at the metrics,
How's it going?
it's doing pretty well.
Okay. That sounds good.
I think last I looked, it was like 51% to 49%.
Okay.
Which is within acceptable margins.
Yeah.
So yeah, but obviously we'll continue listening to feedback on the new map, and as being new, everyone's going to be really excited generally about a new map.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, so we'll see if any little issues or balance quirks kind of come out of the woodwork, the stonework here in some cases, and it's like if you guys have particular feedback about certain aspects of the map, then I want to hear it really, because this is the first attempt at this kind of city layout, as we've said before. So it'd be really interesting to know kind of moving forward how successful you guys feel that this has been. So
one thing I think that is something that is kind of left out of here is a 51 to 49% win rate, right? On a brand new asymmetrical map is incredibly impressive, and I think that the world team should be really proud of themselves what they accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, like we.
I know.
Yeah, but there's more than just me and the team. Like there's.
Alice didn't want it to be like, oh yeah, they should be. You should be too.
Yeah, so like this. Thanks. Thank you. So this was, and I think I mentioned this last week. The primary designer on this map was actually Veronica, and
he said Leif best man CA.
Right.
So she's done a great job with this map and made it like look amazing as well. And I've kind of been there in the background, but it's ultimately her design for this one too. So she definitely deserves a lot of praise if she's watching. I don't know.
Probably is always.
But yeah, so it's doing great, and because we were like in the playtest we were running towards the end, we were a little worried about balance and some of aspects of the map as well. So it's good to see that.
I remember complaining bitterly about it. I'm
very
so happy to have been wrong.
So we had quite a few like kind of iterations and tweaks to certain stuff just to help the flow and just to help.
I know the watchtowers moved a lot.
Yeah, the watchtowers moved around a whole bunch.
I remember being really impressed at how quickly you made massive sweeping changes to.
But yeah, so it was quite a tough one, and I'm glad it's come out pretty successful so far. So, yeah.
Before we move on to the Teutoburg Forest changes, I will answer some questions that I've been seeing. Next commander skin, we're not really revealing any more commander skins on this live stream. And when I say any more, like we've revealed any. There are no commander skins on this live stream. But there are the free ones.
There will be a camel skin for Josh.
I saw some other questions.
We were actually discussing
someone said,
please
fix and improve game performance. There is actually some stuff about optimization I'll have to say in a little bit. And someone else said, are there any changes to the points system?
I've actually got some planned.
Okay.
They won't be in this patch, I'm afraid.
Okay, but do you want to talk about that maybe at the end a little bit?
Yeah, we can do a little.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yes, I've seen your question because I feel like you felt like you were ignored. You're not ignored, and we will get back around to that. Is there a possibility for a new game mode? Well, we're still working on Ranked, which is a new game mode. And Jamie's eyebrowing. And someone else did tell me more about Tier 10 leaderboards. I'll get to that in a bit because I even have a picture of you asking for it. So let's talk about your second section, Leif.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really balance this out. It kind of just went Jamie and then Leif. I should have sandwiched that. Oh well.
It's okay.
Let's bring up picture number 5, which is New Teutoburg Forest.
Right. Yeah. Wicked. So.
Really zoomed out.
Yeah, it's really zoomed out.
There's been some few changes. Like. There was a lot of feedback about Teutoburg Forest, and generally metrics-wise, there were, in relation to the other maps, there was a little bit larger of a gap that needed addressing. So we took a look at the achieving the most with like the minimal kind of changes in a sense, so that it still maintains very much the identity that it's been established, but enhances it or kind of brings it more to what it should be. So the biggest thing probably that people will notice,
and I think they've already noticed,
it is that the 2 watchtowers in the center of the map have been removed. There's still the 2 at the back near the bases,
Oh, well, that goes too.
but those 2 central ones are gone. This greatly improves the value of the forest around the middle of the map. Like holding those, like both those watchtowers, they covered a large section of the map, and especially accounting for the theme, it being Teutoburg Forest, it's very much about kind of ambushing, finding routes to flank around and surprise your enemy, and generally come in and out of areas and lose the enemy potentially if you can. So yeah, I kind of felt I did try moving them first, but it was still not creating the right sort of aspect. So they have been completely removed, and that should allow much more of that kind of original vision of what the gameplay should be for the majority of the map. Otherwise, there have been a few other tweaks and changes across the map. A few like very minor things, but other points to kind of note is on the what we're looking at now, the kind of the western side, they didn't actually have access from the middle to get up onto the overlook. Yeah, so we can go ahead and bring up like the next screenshot.
So there'll be 3 seconds of a little before. Do you want to get rid of us?
Yeah, so this is
and then there's after.
Before, and then after. So looking at this image now, you'll see like where the watchtower used to be. There is now a path open through those trees there, so that if you're starting in one of the central deployment positions, you actually have the option of being able to move to the left and up onto that overlooking ridge there, or to kind of take the other options that you had before, as well as people starting up on the side of the map there, being able to come in and support the central position easier, and like defend if necessary, rather than having to go all the way around. And this better matched what the kind of the flow and pathing available on the opposite side of the map. So now both teams have that option of directions where to go, and just generally better access, and another little kind of ambush route in some respects as well. You'll also see on the right side of this image, so this is the before, where crossing that river, it's quite open there, and the boundary of the map was quite in, and it just kind of pushed you into this open area. So now there's more forest there. The boundary has kind of been pushed back to expand this forest. There's a little bit of a ledge and some rock and obstacles there, but it gives again a better option when heading through that part of the map. Like you're not just pushed straight into that open area. You can use the forest if you need to try and sneak past, or to benefit for ground type reasons and such as well. And yeah, that just again really helped that area, that side of the map, come together a little bit better. A few other little small tweaks, there's slight small tweaks to some of the positioning of the entry onto some ramps here and there, so they're a little bit easier to access. Some little bits of long grass here and there have been kind of shifted slightly. I think one of the roads on the other side of the map, or the other side, possibly the other side of that river there, has been moved slightly, so it's more in line distance-wise to the kind of other side of the map. And yeah, so just a few little tweaks here and there on top of the watchtower change, which should really kind of help to bring the map into the identity that we kind of wanted it to be, as is thematically the case with Teutoburg Forest, right? So
I did see. So someone was asking about the win rate. So is this something that was influenced by player feedback and metrics, or just metrics, or just
both?
Okay.
Yeah, totally both. As I said, like the metrics was kind of showing a slight lean towards one side, still within acceptable kind of range.
Yep.
But
But not
it
Leif's
was
acceptable
significant enough to show that there was some aspect there that could potentially be addressed. And then on top of that, there has been kind of enough comments amongst the community about this map, and not just about the balance, but also just kind of those aspects of not actually being able to pull off ambushes very easily in this map because of those central watchtowers. And yeah, ultimately I think it's the better decision to have those removed and stop those being a nullifier of that type of gameplay within this map.
What he said.
That sounds good. So someone was saying, what was that more like 53 versus 47 in comparison to the other?
It was more like 54 versus 46 at one point.
So
Interestingly
we're hoping
enough,
this will bring it to 50-50,
interestingly enough, it has actually balanced out since then.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's
Well, hopefully it doesn't unbalance it.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, that's as is the way, like, as more and more games are played, and as well, the other thing to consider is that whenever we do balance changes to units,
Yeah.
that's going to have a slight knock-on effect potentially to the
Yeah.
balance of the maps, because different units suddenly become more useful, more powerful, or more effective in different situations, and that can somewhat translate to how the maps play and how they balance out as well. But yeah, so interestingly, it evened out a little bit since then. But I think this is still the way to go forward.
I found it interesting that like a couple of days ago, someone on Reddit suggested very similar changes. I think you replied with a little like wink or something.
Yeah,
It
or
was-
something. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, these are kind of. I have been like thinking about this for a while and
Yeah.
wanted to get this out for a while, and yeah, we just kind of.
So have you any parting words on this?
I hope you like it.
There we go. So let's talk about. I'm going to need my paper for this because these are not things I'm familiar with. The ability system improvement.
Oh yeah.
Do you know about that?
Yeah.
You both do? Do you want to talk a little bit about it? I've got the official patch note.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Do you want me to read this out and you can expand on if people are confused? So, we've added support for executing different channels of the same ability at the same time, so you can be affected by the debuff caused by, for example, Tales of the Belgae from an enemy at the same time, and at the same time be affected by the buff on an allied Tales of the Belgae. The system knows about it and the UI is updated to inform the player. The only exception to this system is the same phase from a different source won't stack. 2 times a buff of 50% speed won't cause an 100% speed buff.
Yeah.
If these two come from the same database phase, the UI will only show one.
So previously we couldn't apply different effects to to enemies versus allies versus self.
Yeah.
And a while back we implemented that. But back before that point, we had a rule pretty much where if you apply the same ability to someone, it will just overwrite the previous version and it'll have the most newest version, and that like including talents and commander abilities and stuff. So if someone applies the same ability but it's a worse version of it, it'll still override.
Yes.
And then when we introduced channels, that wasn't also mixed in, as it were. So when you applied a channel to an enemy, or rather when you applied that to an ally, for example, and it buffed them, and then the enemy came over and debuffed them, it would just overwrite the previous one.
Yep.
And vice versa. So, but now it's been implemented so that you can do both at once because it's a different channel, which means it's a different phase of the ability is actually
Yep.
being applied. It means they don't overwrite and they're actually just a stack, as it were.
Cool. So, I will move on to a second thing, which is more competitive premium units. For this patch, we've reviewed our premium units, found that they are still underperforming in battle, both in metrics and feedback. We're taking another smaller step to ensure that premium units are not worse than standard units and can be competitive in battle. This change has increased the overall stats for the majority of premium units by between 2 and 15%, depending on how their performance lined up with their counterparts. I don't know if either of you had much to do in that.
That was Paul, pretty much.
But I think from what we've seen, they're still not... Like, we've taken steps up to this point, like, careful not to make leaps. And we've seen that, again, they're just not performing as well as other units are. And it feels like you're penalising people, you know, for paying, which is not what we want. We want, you know, everyone to feel like
good, right?
They're on the same level.
If you ever buy anything, you should feel satisfied with that, and you should feel it was worth the money. So that's a kind of a rule.
I'm still trying to keep it, you know, balanced within the rest of the meta. So.
The other thing we have is, and this is what I was talking about, the optimization, is we have optimized the loading times. We spent some time optimizing how the client is handled during loading, primarily the front-end scene and battles. So low-spec users, or users who are using traditional hard drives, so not SSDs, which I know is me, should notice more of a difference than others. Our internal tests have displayed up to a 30-second reduction in loading times on certain setups. Oh, wow. So I actually have this at home. I find that... So I have a GTX 1080, but I also have a really bad hard drive. So I load into battle last, and every time I load in, everyone's like, "Oh, the CA bought you a potato," and I'm just like, "All right, I promise, guys, it's just my loading times. Like, it's fine." And now, hopefully, this is one of those things where, for me, and you know, for everyone else using hard drives, particularly, it's gonna be much nicer, faster loading time. What is with the backward loading percentage? I don't know. It confuses me too. Hopefully, this will change that too. It usually goes like 99, 95 in.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Oh. But maybe that might be a hard drive thing as well.
I think that might be a hard drive thing.
So hopefully this will be a really nice little change. Well, it will be a nice little change. It is just flat out better. So now I guess we have 13 minutes. We can do a little bit of a Q&A if you guys are interested.
Sure.
So we've got Jamie here to remind you who we've got. We've got Jamie, our feature designer. So asking about features. Actually, you can maybe start with talking about the point system.
Oh, yeah. So I've got some plans on improvements to make. We deliberately left the point system alone until we dealt with the reward system. We're much happy with how the reward system is sitting now, between like all the silver, the experience, everything. So now, because basically if we try to change both at once, we just have this crazy spinning top balancing act, and we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. So now that we've kind of locked one in, then we can move on to this other one. So now I want to go back to the points and review them. Big part is the support points for missile block. Like, those are clearly way too high. Capture points, I want to bring those down a little bit. The reason they're so high is because, you know, capturing the base wins you the game. Yeah. But it's too high. So I'm kind of... Whereas before, a lot of our design direction was you have to get the same amount of points whenever you, regardless of tier, regardless of whatever's in the battle, it has to kind of generate roughly the same amount of points. Has to, you know, this is what wins you the battle, so you got loads of points for it, that kind of stuff. And I'm moving more of a design direction on the amount of effort it took for you to do thing, is what your points should reflect that. Yeah. So things like killing an elephant will be worth more points than it is now because of how much effort it is to kill one of them. So it's kind of going to try and make it proportional to that. Archers, slingers, artillery, all of whom don't really get that much in the way of points, considering how long they could be firing at something and how much pressure they put on it, and infantry and stuff like that. So I'm looking at ways to increase their points without increasing their damage. I had one prototype a while ago where it scaled how many points you got based on how far away you were from the thing that you hit. Yep. Which sort of worked, but I wasn't too happy with it, so exploring some other avenues. I'm sure there were some other things that I just can't remember. Spotting points, I want to reduce the spotting points a bit because those get a bit high a bit too quickly. They're probably the lowest of those priorities though, but those are fairly easy to just change. And then of course changing reward multipliers so that the rewards stay exactly the same while points change a little bit.
We have a couple of other questions. Get Nexus, I think, is trolling us because he's saying, is cliff surfing a feature? And I've actually replied to him many a time, and by that I mean once. We are looking into the cliff surfing bug that was raised on Reddit. I think that we've got someone dedicated on QA looking at it at the moment, actually. So hopefully should come to a conclusion on that. We're actually doing the investigation into that now. if you're asking us about balance, none of us here will be able to answer that
Unless it's about map balance.
unless it's about map balance. Someone said,
points balance,
can we
maybe.
get Kickstart off a new PC? Thinking of adding more trees in Teutoburg Forest. Well, there were some new trees added.
Yeah, we just did add some new trees. Potentially, like as always, there is always the chance that we will make further changes and improvements to the maps.
Yep.
So that might be adding more trees. Like it's a difficult thing to balance when, while you very much want to lean into what the theme of a map might be,
Yep.
you still need to ensure that every unit has some degree of feeling useful on the map and being effective on a map. Considering you can't necessarily pick the map, you can anticipate, but you can't pick what map you're going into.
Yep.
So it's finding that balance between those two aspects. Like I mean, it'd be very interesting to have effectively a completely forested map or something like that, but it kind of screws over certain units.
Yeah.
So
Remember, I used to complain bitterly at you about Rubicon because it didn't have enough forest on it. Whenever I played Barbarians, I just got wrecked.
yeah. I mean, the original Rubicon had no forest whatsoever on it, not around the edges, not nowhere.
No, I mean,
So it's a balancing act basically. If a lot of people comment on it and it remains to be a thing that continues that for people to ask for, then certainly that will kind of put it higher on our priority to think about more and address. I think generally the ultimate thing is making sure that the maps feel good to play for everyone involved.
my gosh. All right, I'm gonna race through some questions right now.
Okay.
All right.
Go for it.
Fire round.
So, when will the next faction be announced? Not today, and not next time
today,
either.
Gav.
I don't really have a set date for that. When are you going to change Numidian Throw? I know that's something we've spoken about, and it's something that I think.
I actually saw some code changes.
Well, it's something we're looking into. I don't think it's something that's happening necessarily very soon, but it's something that's being experimented with.
Code changes.
There you go.
So that's like anywhere between now and the next 5 years.
I'm just trying to get through some of the.
That's the nature of code changes.
Yeah.
I've heard war dogs fall off in strength at tier 8 and above. Do your statistics show this too? I don't think any
It's a
above.
balance question.
Yeah, that's a balanced question. Back to this one. The test reminded me that I promised we would talk about leaderboards, so bring up number 7.
Yeah, okay. I can talk
But
about
before we actually talk about that, we'll let them just put that up there. Will tier difference enter in count in the new points system?
that. Maybe.
Oh
yeah.
that's a
I've
good
got that.
question,
I've actually got a bloody. I've got a list of stuff on Confluence. I forgot about that. That is one of them. But at the time when I wrote that, tiers were like massively horrifying in matchmaking.
Yeah.
Whereas
Mm.
there's been a lot of improvements in matchmaking recently. So I'll question that one. I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it,
Yeah.
because I might change my mind after I walk out of here. In fact, I haven't made up my mind. But yeah, I want to look at actually how because we've got some metrics on how tier differences impact each other in battles. So I'll have a look at them and then decide. But I had thought of doing it so that if you are playing a high tier unit and you're killing a lower tier, you don't get as many points as the other way around. Yeah, that's
Someone
something
else
I wanted to look
was
at.
saying, will you rebalance points around killing elephants?
Yeah, did I say that? Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
The plan.
Yes.
Yeah, my plan is that the points you get are more based on the effort you put in.
Right.
Because it takes so much more effort to kill an elephant in terms of like sheer micro and just shoot at them for a really long time, or shove on vengeance and chase them down and stuff like that, than it does for say some other unit.
Yeah.
That you would get more points for the time you invest into doing that.
Someone said, thinking of adding a ground on the new MVP screen? I don't think so. I think I quite like it. It's kind of ethereal.
Yeah, it's kind of an ethereal shadow plane or something like that.
Some information about buffing Carthage spears. That's something Will's spoken about. It's something that we didn't want to add Portas Carthage spears straight away, in case it turned out that we'd overcooked the ability somewhat.
Yeah.
But it is something he's looking into, something he would like to do, and I think several others, because we do like Carthage. Oh my gosh, that's a big question for Leif. Do you consider how units can fare on maps you design? Is how I'll shorten that. we have strong maps and weak maps for unit types.
Yes or no?
But it looks they're saying that barbarians they think have it super rough most of the time. Is that something that you consider, Life?
Yes.
There we go.
I mean, just to quickly elaborate on that, yes, absolutely. Sometime, like, no map can be perfect for every unit. Like, no map can have an equal amount of efficiency for each unit type, and especially as new things get released, new unit types can get released or something. You know, if that was the goal, it'd be very difficult. It would take if not nigh impossible, and it would require maps being rebalanced every time anything else gets rebalanced. Cool. But yes, it is a serious consideration to try and make every unit at least find some role within a map. Sometimes that might mean a unit needs to play outside of its comfort zone. And a great example of that is barbarians have to come out of the woods and play with their teammates in the field and do their flanking maneuvers and help them that way.
How come you didn't vote the other guys, Josh?
Because I only noticed this. I upvoted him and then I went to bed or went wherever I went.
I mean,
and then I came back and
you came and
screenshotted
you
it.
screenshotted it, and you just you didn't. Wow.
I will go back and upvote them if it means that much to you.
Yeah,
so someone was saying, where's the picture of the leaderboards? I did say it would be a picture of you asking for the leaderboards. So here it is. So do we want to talk a little about tier 10 leaderboards?
Yeah, so there's tier 10 leaderboards.
Not in this patch, to clarify.
No, not in this patch. The idea is we want more people at tier 10, and we're looking at progression still. You know, we're always looking at progression. That's a lot of our changes recently, because tier 10 should be where our end game is, and we also need to do a lot of balancing around tier 10, etc. But in the meantime, we do want there to be a reason to play at tier 10, and the leaderboards is kind of part of that. So you have to play at least 3 battles with a tier 10 unit to qualify for the tier 10 leaderboards. It only shows the top 100 players on the leaderboard. We have a version of a rating that we calculate for you as you play. It'll show your win rate and your average kills. You can also select what country you're from and put that on there if you want. If you're not,
select any country, or does it have to be?
You can select any country you like.
Excellent.
So, like, I live in England, but I would personally choose Wales because that's where I'm from.
Okay. Is this going to start the debate again?
We could. But what was I going to say? Yeah, if you're not in the top 100, it'll tell you what percentage you're in. So it'll say you're in the top 10% or you're in the top 20%, etc. If it says you're in the top 100%, it means you're probably the worst person at tier 10.
Whoa.
So you don't want to be in that. You want the number to be small, basically. You want to say I'm in the top 1% is what you want to be. And at that point, you're probably on the leaderboard.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Someone was saying, are there new lobby backgrounds in game yet? Everything you've seen and heard about, apart from the tier 10 leaderboards, are coming next Thursday, unless something
and
goes
the points, that's
terribly
not coming next
wrong.
Thursday. I'm just starting that.
Have they said something about the commander price changes? We have not, and we still don't really have anything to say about that at this point. What about the grind to tier 10? Depending on when you last played.
Like I was just saying, like our progression, we've been making a lot of changes to progression to make that a much more pleasant experience instead of a horrifying grind.
So I think we're pretty much wrapping up. When can we make clans in Total War Arena? That's something that we're interested in as well. We've always said we want clans, and we want that kind of stuff. We've previously spoken about clan wars, clan campaigns, all that kind of cool stuff. It's just a question of making sure that we have the functionality for that, and that we're not avoiding something else that was a priority because of it.
And it's kind of a large process to undergo. So there's a lot involved with making that happen and making it happen in a good way that's interesting
and then
everything
even
as well,
when we do start on it, it's a lot of work to do all the things that we want to do. It's a lot of work. We can
plan it out, and we look at the time it would take, and then look and think that's a lot of time, and we got to make sure that when we do it, that's the right time to commit that amount of time. So someone was saying any balance changes. As soon as you see that, there's no one here who can really discuss balance changes in that kind of depth. Apart from map balance changes, thank you very much. I think we are out of time, actually. I thought this would be quite a short live stream, and we filled the whole hour.
You're welcome, Josh.
Thank you very much for coming on, guys.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Leif
You
and his
only
beard,
asked me like 2 hours ago.
Jimmy and his face.
Yeah.
There
You
you
didn't
go.
even know that I did the things that were on here.
I knew that you were involved.
I was like, oh, do you need anything from live stream? He's like, no, it's going to be a really short live stream. We haven't got much to talk about. I was like, oh, isn't post-battle 3D thing good? Yeah, it is. Like, well, I did that. You did that? Well, yeah.
Well, I can't remember
What
what
did you
everyone
think?
does. So
it.
someone said, is there anything for ranked tier 10 in 3.8? No, we're just kind of showing you and talking about something,
Yeah,
but showing you.
It's
Um,
kind of
talking about something
future
coming
stuff, you know?
Yeah.
We like to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Hints.
So, I think we're pretty much done here. Thank you very much to my guests,
you.
Jamie and Leif.
Thank you very much, Josh.
That felt so forced. Leif, I
Thanks,
want you.
Josh.
Thank you, Leif.
Josh.
All right, we'll see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully with some 3.9. Thank you very much, and see you on the battlefield.